In November 2014, the FASB issued ASU 2014-16, determining whether the host contract in a hybrid financial instrument issued in the form of a share is more akin to debt or to equity. I'm Damon Romano, and I'm a senior manager in DPP. Before we jump into the ASU, I will give you some background on the issue. A hybrid financial instrument consists of a host contract and one or more embedded features that may or may not need to be bifurcated and accounted for separately. Derivative guidance will tell us that an entity is required to bifurcate an embedded derivative from the host contract and account for it separately when certain criteria are not met, including if the entity determines that the embedded derivative is not clearly and closely related to the host contract. Before determination can be made regarding bifurcation, an entity first needs to determine the nature of the host contract to assess the bifurcation criteria, as the answer can change based on the host contract. More explicitly, when a hybrid financial instrument is issued in the form of a share, an entity needs to determine whether the host contract is more akin to debt or to equity. To provide some context, a couple of different scenarios would be the following. If a host contract is considered to be more akin to debt, then a feature such as a non-contingent redemption option, which is usually a debt-like feature, would be probably considered clearly and closely related and would not require bifurcation. Whereas if a host contract is considered to be more akin to equity, then a conversion option, which is usually an equity-like feature, would be considered clearly and closely related. There's currently diversity in practice regarding how to evaluate the nature of the host contract, so with that background, I'm going to provide you with an example. Okay, let's assume as an example that you have a convertible preferred stock with a stated value of $100 and with no stated maturity date. Let's also assume that the instrument contains a conversion option, dividend rights, voting rights, and a redemption option. So is the host instrument more akin to debt or to equity based on these assumptions? The EITF discussed three approaches to evaluate the nature of the host contract: the whole instrument approach, the chameleon approach, and the pure host approach. So to quickly summarize the three approaches, I'll go through the following. Number one, the whole instrument approach says that an entity considers all of the instrument's terms and embedded derivative features when evaluating the nature of the host contract. The chameleon approach, you exclude the embedded derivative feature being evaluated for bifurcation when you evaluate the host. And then the third option is the pure host approach, which excludes all embedded derivative features when evaluating the host. I won't spend much time on the last two, the chameleon and the pure host, since those are not in the final ASU. So back to the example. Under the whole instrument approach, if the CFO and the controller company were looking at this instrument, the CFO may conclude that the host is more akin to debt because he places significant weight on the redemption feature. On the other hand, the controller believes more weight should be given to the conversion feature, which is more like equity. Or you determine that the redemption feature and the conversion feature offset and you're only left with equity-like features, you would have concluded that the host contract is more akin to equity. As you can see, both parties have a pretty reasonable conclusion and both are considering the whole instrument. However, they weight the features differently. The board observed that diversity could still exist depending on how much weight is given to individual features in the instrument during the evaluation. With that, what did the board suggest to assist with this diversity in practice? So the board developed a three-step approach as to assist with the thought process entities may go through, as you can see on the slide. Step one is pretty intuitive. An entity would identify all the terms and features stated and applied within the hybrid financial instrument. So in the example, identifying the conversion rights, redemption rights, voting rights, etc. Step two is to assess the substance of the relevant terms and features. This is a step where an entity would assess the strength of the relevant terms and features. The assessment would include consideration of the characteristics of the terms and features themselves. So, is the instrument contingent or not contingent, in the money or out of the money? The circumstances under which the hybrid financial instrument was issued or acquired. For example, is the issuer thinly capitalized or profitable and well capitalized? Also within step 2, you would also consider the expected outcome of the instrument and the likelihood of that expected outcome. So how is the instrument expected to settle? In shares, transferring assets, or will the instrument remain legal form equity? Step 3 would be to weigh each term and feature and conclude whether the instrument is more akin to debt or equity based on all the relevant facts and circumstances. Now the FASB staff believes that the analysis will still require significant judgment. However, the implementation guidance should narrow the scope of the gray area in making this determination. Also, this would be applied on a modification retrospective basis to existing hybrid financial instruments in the form of a share. Companies are to use judgments based on the facts and circumstances that existed upon issuance of the instrument. Okay, so with respect to effective dates, public business entities must apply the new requirements in fiscal years beginning after December 15, 2015, and interim periods within those fiscal years. All other entities must apply the new requirements in fiscal years beginning after December 15, 2015, and interim periods within fiscal years beginning after December 15, 2016. All entities have the option of adopting the new requirements as of an earlier date for financial statements that had not previously been issued. Now over to the next slide. There was some rescission of SEC guidance because of this new issuance. So in May of 2016, the FASB issued ASU 2016-11, which was the rescission of SEC guidance because of this new accounting standard. And this was done at the March 3rd, 2016 EITF meeting. As a result of the amendments in Update 2014-16, the SEC is rescinding its SEC staff announcement determining the nature of a host contract related to a hybrid instrument issued in the form of a share under Topic 815. The guidance is rescinded to coincide with the effective date of ASU 2014-16. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining this micro-learning today. I hope that the information provided gives you some insight into ASU 2014-16. Thank you very much.